Hey, collective. I've got a little bit of story time for you. You know, a little while back, I had made the statement that I was going to share some various stories of different things that happened to me while I was in treatment at the Isaiah House. Because you see, these gang stalkers, secret society weirdos, whatever you want to call them, they think they're slick. They think they're smart. So they will do things in an attempt to force your hand, to force the target's hand. It's a lot like reactive abuse, right? Which is where they will psychologically abuse you, and then whenever you have a response to their abuse, they then turn around, point the finger at you, and say, "See, I told you they were crazy." They do a lot of that. And I'm about to share a perfect example of what I'm talking about. While I was in the Isaiah House, there was this one staff member that would constantly and consistently attempt to push my buttons. And what I mean by that is she approached me one day while I was there, and she said, "Rusty, tell me something. Am I the only staff member here that doesn't allow you all to watch TV before you do your chores in the morning?" And I said, "Yeah, actually you are." And she said, "Well, hell, I'll tell you what. I'm just going to go ahead and start letting you all watch TV." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, thank you. That's awesome." Because you see, previous to this, I had been up at like 5 o'clock in the morning because I just wake up early. And I had been watching Grace for Purpose on YouTube, which is a channel about God. She had turned the TV off and taken the remote from me, which was weird in this so-called faith-based program, right? But whatever. You know, she said she was going to start allowing it. So cool. The very next morning, and I kid you not, the very next morning, when I got up at 5 o'clock, like I always did, I turned on my Grace for Purpose, and here she comes marching into the living room. She grabs the remote, turns the TV off, and says, "Good God, girl, you are relentless." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? You just told me yesterday that it was okay to do this. I am simply just following what you said." She looks at me and says, "Well, maybe I did say that, but that was then, and this is now." And she started to walk off. And I said to her, "So you're a liar. What you're telling me is you are a liar because you lied to me then yesterday." She turns around and looks at me and says, "You've got a bad attitude." To which I said, "No, ma'am, I do not have a bad attitude. But you know what I think? I think that you intentionally do things in an attempt to push my buttons. I think that you purposefully try to make me angry." She looks me dead in the face and says, "Looks like it's working," and turned around and walked off. This was a staff member who openly and blatantly admitted to trying to make me mad. A client in her rehab. See, they would do things like that to me all the time because they wanted for me to buck up and blow up and, go off and go crazy, because then they could wipe their hands and say, "Well, it wasn't our fault. It was her fault. She's nuts." 2 different occasions while I was there, I got written up both times for cussing people out that I never cussed out, never even said the first cuss word. And the second time that they wrote me up for that, they made me write 500 words on why I was not unique and why the Isaiah House was not my castle, knowing damn good and well that I didn't cuss out anyone. But yeah, they did things like that to me on the daily there. And whenever they finally realized that they were not going to be successful in sending me off the deep end, they discharged me for absolutely no reason. So yeah, if you need to go to rehab, I would think twice before you went there. Just saying. Much love.